Good morning, friends. We are continuing to talk about just our struggle in anger and just how it can play out in our mothering or just in our homes or even with our husbands. And I have tip 3 today, and I have a story that happened a long time ago in my own life that hopefully will help you. This happened many years ago. I had a lot of little ones. We had 8 kids, and we had them just about every 2 years. So there was just a lot of years where there were a lot of little ones. I either was nursing or I was pregnant or I had a toddler. And then over the years, the kids got older and older and just more babies kept coming and coming. And there would be days where I would be frustrated and tired. And I can remember having a very life changing conversation with my husband. My husband was always and is always very gentle and kind when he gives me input in my life, but sometimes he does say things that I need to hear. And over the years, so many times, he has helped me understand myself or understand a different perspective of where I was coming from. And so I don't remember the specifics of this conversation, but I am sure we were talking about me being frustrated in mothering. And Stephen said to me very gently, he said, "Let me ask you a question." He said, "If the doorbell rang right now and a friend was standing at the door, would you change? Would your tone with the kids change? Would your heart with the kids, would your frustration go away if there was a friend that unexpectedly was at the door and came into the home?" And boy, that is all he needed to say because it was so apparent to me that yes, if you came and rang my doorbell unexpectedly and I had been frustrated with my kids, I would completely change at that moment. My tone would change and I would not demonstrate my frustration and I would tone down how I worked with my kids. And basically what Stephen said to me today that day was if it can happen right when a doorbell rings, then it surely can happen right before the doorbell rings. And in that conversation, God really used that in my life to help me understand that I can control my anger, that it is not something that happens to me, but it is something that I make a choice in. And there are a couple of verses that I want to share today. They all come out of Romans. And in Romans 8, it says, "The mind of sinful man is death, but the mind controlled by the Spirit is life and peace." And I have a choice, just like when that doorbell rings and I can change immediately. I have a choice to let my mind be controlled by the Spirit. And out of that mind and out of that flow of the heart, like we talked about last time, out of that comes my words out of my mouth, and it is life and peace into my home. The other verse that I want to talk about is in Romans 13:14, and it says a very little phrase in there that is so powerful. It says, "Make no provision for the flesh." And that is what I was doing. I was allowing provision for my flesh. I was justifying, and in my mind, I thought it was a legitimate reason to be frustrated. So I began to work through those two verses that the mind controlled by the Spirit is life and peace. And that I began to understand that I was making provision for the flesh, that I was somehow in my mind justifying my frustration. So many times through the years, I have thought about that. If I can change my heart immediately on a dime when the doorbell rings, I can change it before the doorbell rings, and I can make a choice to not respond or get exasperated with my kids. The little tip that I always come back to is in those moments, I would have to really slow down. I would have to almost stop everything, and I would have to realize you are making provision for your flesh, and I would have to start carefully slowing down and responding to different kids about different things that were happening and try to one by one get back on track of a kind tone and a patient mom, and just step by step, little interaction by little interaction, getting back on track to a good spot where I was speaking and bringing life and peace into my home because I was making the choice to allow my mind to be controlled by the Spirit. So I hope that helps today. I hope there's a couple of verses that you can think about and that helps you just build a platform, build a foundation of truth that you can start working through when you get frustrated and training yourself to come back to that spot where you allow the Spirit to flow out of you. So have a good Monday, and I'll see you next time.